So you are expecting two flat answers. Two flat answers. It seems that you are not interested in my question. You just want to answer. So let me little more interesting way to express yourself. What you are expecting to do. I mean, last 1 month, what you were. What you are expecting to do. Anybody else? It's a volunteer. Don't worry, I will not embarrass you. It's the way we just laugh a little bit. Because otherwise we are going to be a very serious system, which you hardly get opportunity to laugh. So don't miss the opportunity to laugh and laugh loud. So anybody else? Yeah.
Change.
You are expected to change. What kind of change it is?
Both our behavior and our understanding.
Okay. So there are two answers. One madam answer, that is very concrete answer. You are expected to do an excellent research. What she is saying, we are expected to change our behavior, attitude, and knowledge. And what more? I mean, see, there is a very famous story. Came across 100 times. Two things different. You have came across 100 times. I also copy pasting from somewhere else. But what does it mean to do two things differently? See, we all are working in a domain, larger domain, on teacher education. Right? So it's not the children education. It's not the education of a company professional. It's not the education of a laborers, or neither engineer or now doctor. And that is the profession. One of my colleagues, out here, he used to refer one philosopher, continuously, every workshop. She can name this which philosopher. That if you enter into a practice place of any profession, whether this professional is engineer or doctor or architect, or forget it, engineer, doctor, architect, it's a barber. Every professional has changed their instrument in the last 30 to 40 years. They have changed their instrument to which they are operating. However, in case of teaching, we are still using the similar kind of technology what we are used to use until years back. That is the blackboard, the way I am lecturing you, and the similar kind. Why so? I mean, you go to the engineer. Engineers are now using so many different kinds of instruments. Doctors are using, we don't know what they are doing. You go there and they are mixing 100 kind of machines into your body. And then suddenly you realize that you are running to another planet. But, and if you, even if you go to an architect, earlier they just Google search pictures of architect in 18th century or 19th century. So now, architects have a different kind of instrument, and in the most cases, they are using a large set of data to do the different kind of programming. It's not always the hard instrument. Instrument in a very technical sense, but they are also using soft instruments like data, knowledge. So these kind of things they are continuously used. But if you go to they are still solving a mathematics book written by F2F in 1870. 1800 book is so popular that even the new writers are not competing with F2F and then Holland. So I mean, even if you can go nowadays because this literature wiped away. So we still the class 12 students are looking for it. So these kind of books are there. We are not able in position to substantiate with a more substantial book than SL. So this is the key problem where we are and why this is happening. Why this is happening, I am not going to answer. Yesterday I am discussing with some of colleagues from Nepal. So what I try to make, this project is neither about the Excel research. What is the you can answer or need to learn what is the Excel research. But of course, you are expected to do one activity or neither about the enhance your attitude or knowledge or behavior. This project is about probably you will search in next 10 days that what is this project is all about. Of course, you need to do Excel. You need to work on your knowledge, but what you are expected to do. So yesterday we are formulating it is important to raise a question. I'm not sure that how many of you are actually. I'm not going to answer what is this project. You can explore in next 2 3 days what this project is all about. But what is the question that you will ask? Now 3 questions. It's not the 3 popular questions. Am I not audible? See, we are very instrument to speak very loudly because it's a classroom. We are instrumental to speak very loudly. So I will speak near to my. Yet so much chaos will not be present because एक तो करेला ऊपर से नीचे that is that is a phrase in Hindi that is difficult person and also rude. So then you can understand. But anyway, you can raise 3 questions with you among any of your participants. Please ask 3 questions. I'm not going to answer this, but you can ask 3 questions which help you to understand what is this project is all about. I'm not going to answer, but at least you ask a question. Probably some of you can answer because there are so many intelligent people. I have never got a fellowship while I am master student. So you are certainly more talented than me. I'm a little bit jealous with our, but still I'm thinking that you are very vibrant group. So ask 3 questions. 3, yeah. No, from this group. See, there is nothing me. I'm just coordinating this discussion. There is no difference between you and me. But I'm just sitting here inside because I have to coordinate so many people are here. Just to ask, yes, you so that I can provide it. 3 questions that you come in your mind about what is this project is. I mean, I'm also asking a question, but except this question, what is this project is? Can you add 3 supplementary questions about this project so that you can enhance your knowledge? Search of this question, enhance your knowledge. So not possible to ask. What you can do, write a question in your notebook. Question, this is not answer. Question which help you to understand this project. Suppose that I want to understand her. So one question. Can ask 150. But suppose that I wanted to understand who she is. So first of all, the way I get trained, I will usually ask, what is your name? I mean, what does it mean? What are her name? I mean, her name could be probably the most important question. Where are you from? So that I can guess something. When it's her name is XYZ, that hardly helps me to understand her. If one question. So this question could be the characteristics question. So where she is coming from, or the next question, what is your education? So probably help me to understand at which layer I can go, or maybe whether I am able to talk to her or not. Probably she is a highly qualified and I am not able to match, so I can withdraw. No, this is beyond my capacity to understand. So next question. But asking a person to her name is not help you to understand her or him. But asking something about her or him will help you. So similarly, ask or write a question about the person. So I will offer you. Intelligent people, they can write while they are talking. You have already written? No, sir. Because if you ask, then other people will say, oh my God, this is what I wanted to write. This person already
Just make
wrote.
sure that
So you are standing.
and
And even if sir,
correct email ID
let that.
honor verified.
Yeah, I used to send mails in this one.
Just wait for 30 seconds. And you can reply so that other can also write. Write one question about the project. I mean, you have already spent so much time and energy. You are traveling far from Nepal and Maldives to Mumbai. And it seems a very attractive city, Mumbai. Once you landed here, then suddenly, oh my God, it's look like my neighbor place. So there is nothing new. So, but those people, when I first time reached Mumbai, I am like, oh, this is Mumbai. I never understand that what is special, but the way literature and film communicate to us is very attractive. But anyway, so 30 seconds is pass. So, madam, we start from you. What is your question?
How does this project help teacher educator in their professional development?
How does this process
This
project?
project help teacher educator in their professional development.
That is the important question. I don't have the answer. And generally, I don't have the answer. But what you can do, probably one of our colleague will help you to find out the poster or the card. Write your question. Your question is very important. And put it someplace. This one. Put it someplace. Yes, another question. Yes, sir.
My question is, why is this project called MATPD?
Why this? Then again, this question, just think about it. Why this project is called effectively? There is value in this, or it is just a curiosity? Why this project is called effectively? Probably something else. But suppose that if you are naming something, for example, why Gautam called Buddha? This is a question like that. Why Gautam called Buddha? So probably someone you can say because he achieved enlightenment. That's why Gautam became Buddha. So this is the little he is exploring why people have choose this name. MATPD. Now, sir, please elaborate. What is MA?
Multimodal approach in teachers professional development.
Multi-model approach in teacher professional development. Why this project? Write it something important and try to find out. Probably day 3, you can find another page and you can write the answer yourself. Yeah, any other question from that side? You know, why I have changed the seat? I always keep eye on the back side.
May I answer?
Yeah. Please.
I have done that. How to choose the topic for the exam results.
Why? Pardon?
How to choose the topic for exam results.
So, of course, this is a good question for understanding exam research. But this is not a good question to understand this project. But still, this is a good question for this group. How to choose a topic for exam research? Write it, sir. And just try to Google search. You can find your answer. And next day, sometime I will force you to explain the answer of this question. Yes, madam, please.
This project can teach aid in teacher professional development in our country.
So this question, already this question comes from here. Madam, this question, the only additional thing is you have added one more dimension in your country. Her question is more generic. Your question is specific to Maldives. So probably you need to find out the way. I don't have the answer. I don't have. I'm generally asking that while you are raising this question, probably the lady sitting adjacent to you, she is thinking how this project help your country. she's thinking how this project is going, but I don't have that. So your question is important. So you highlight your country, my country. Right? Yes, you want to say.
But actually, since you pointed out, I'm actually intrigued by the fact that we are a very vibrant community of fellows over here with varying experience, varying background. So I'm actually interested in knowing how this combination is going to help with this project. Can you give me an insight?
So, and what kind of literature helped you to answer this question? Probably some of the faculty can answer it. But and certainly I found.
So
I mean,
even
you are raising a question. How a multiple background community, I mean multicultural community, help to enhance our understanding about teacher education. So I mean, there is a full-length paper, teacher professional, multicultural research. And then we are trying to assess how multicultural research actually impact on education. So find out, madam. Answer is there on Google. If Google, try to interact with Google, try to interact with some faculty.
so I was more interested not in the generic answer of the Google, but rather in how having
So that is the beginning point. I'm not saying you should reproduce Google. Everybody can do.
but how does that help with this project where we are going for a contextual
That is what
learning?
I'm
That
saying.
is what is being very
I mean, your question is important, but I don't have the answer. Your question is important. How understanding how for a fellow of Maldives, it's important to understand a fellow of Nepal, so that she or he can generously or creatively contribute to teacher education of Nepal. Sorry, Maldives. So that is important. But anyway, some question from this side. Have you written that? Yeah, please.
Maybe I might have looked at it from a different angle because I'm not a fellow. So I was just wondering what the participants of this workshop will be taking back home with them to continue their action research and the work with the others.
So this question, of course, somebody can sit with madam, try to dig in it. What participant can take home, except from this feedback? So what participant can take home? Some, of course, certainly she is indicating toward.
I meant in their
something
heads. I meant in their heads, not in the back.
No, I mean, everybody understands that what you are indicating for, but I wanted to give a way to just step out from this burden of learning. So, I mean, taking back is easier rather than taking this learning. Learning required a
At
lot
least
of-
we will be taking the memories.
Yes, sir. Please. Taking memories. Yeah. Now, day by day, we are less relying on our memory. When I encounter with one person of British person, so it says, actually, what happened? The way the speed we are taking photographs, it's helping us to just less dependent on our memory. So now it's the memory is not important, selfie is important. Keep memory in yours. But anyway, so there are 6, 7 questions. I'm sure that I have not provided opportunity to all of you, but still, if you some of you wanted to ask the question, otherwise I will go to sir. Yeah, please little louder. Yeah, fine.
Thank you, sir, for the
Sir, you are listening, please.
So definitely the MATPT project is for improvement in education, professional development. But I'm curious about, how this project is going to utilize, because we're generating different data from the fields and working in the fields. So how MATPT is going to utilize those findings and the data to improve existing education practice.
So this question is the data that we are generating through this project, how this will help to whom? To whom?
To actually the education practice, teachers, students.
So see, of course your question is important. how this data could help education practice, or maybe how this data could help. So first of all, my question is what data you are expecting? What kind of data you are expecting? Whether it is data of memory of self, or data of some kind of the narrative, or data some coming from in numerical form, or data that is coming from the some kind of plane, or data that is you are generating through the your interaction with the teacher. What kind of data you are expecting? So this question. Then the second set of the question, you are not sure about the character. You are not sure about the. Your question is not sure about to whom you are going to say. Of course, you say the practice. Practice for whom? And this is also my practice to train the teacher educator. So similarly, somebody's practice is to train the educator. Somebody practice is to actually work in the classroom. Somebody practice even in the school education domain. Somebody can practice to work for the midday meal for children. Somebody can practice as a librarian. So which practice you are looking for? So of course, you can say that all of and there are so many things there. So, but it is an important question. Still, the framing of question is very problem. Question needs to be clear. Question needs to be clear, not a statement. No, I mean, I go also go to some seminar and then people raise a hand. Sir, I have a question. And if you ask, then you suddenly listen another presentation. It's not a question. So the question needs to be very pinpointed. Help you to think something. And your leader should assess what you are asking for. What you are asking for, what is your question is? What is your question about? Now, the question about this project, question about understanding this project. Anyway, any other participant have a very creative question and willing to share?
I want to share one question. I want to know how can we develop the capacity to be a transformative agency, because after how can we develop the capacity to be a transformative agency?
So
through this
your,
project, yeah.
your question is nothing to do with the project. Your question is related to transformative agency, and that is a very general question. That is the important question. I'm not denying. You need to learn, but how to? Can you repeat once more?
How can we develop the capacity to be a change agent?
Now I understand how to develop a capacity to become an agent of change or agency of change. That is what your question. So that is a very general question. I mean, project might be related to that, but your question not help answer of your question. Somebody can provide answer of your question without referring to this project. So here we are formulating our question very much around the project. Question. Don't worry about the answer. Formulate the question. So if all of you have doubts, then I request to sir. Sir, your question.
Okay, my question is also, I think, anyway, so the question is very simple. How can multimodal approach for TPD be implemented in the classroom situation in different contexts in Nepal, Maldives, India, Afghanistan? Because this project is related here and there are different contexts, right? So the same project is working with different countries, means different contexts. How can we implement that? Can I go for another question? Another question is that how does SAFE collaborate with all teachers across different nations? How does SAFE, SAFE collaborate with all teachers across nations? The second question is the SAFE.
What is that?
No. SAT.
South Asian Teacher Education Fellowship. Yeah? So how they actually work together collaboratively, with other teachers whom they are going to give the TPD session across these different nations.
Actually, sir, I mean, I must acknowledge this question is very important. If we have the answer of this question, we don't need this project. Actually, this project is trying to find the answer of this question. I mean, the one model, how can one model, I mean, is applicable in Nepal, and other model could be applicable in Afghanistan, and even in the Afghanistan, the terrain is different. Even in Nepal, all Nepal is not look like same. There are urban Nepal and rural Nepal. So within the Nepal, there are a lot of difference. But I don't have that answer. I think that the remaining day, but some of you can sit with try to write down the question and put it someplace. So we have at least 30-40 questions that we are looking for answer. I mean, but I must acknowledge this group is very talented and smart. You have carefully chosen those aspects where you need to work. Suppose that what kind of work I am expected to do in this project? What kind of engagement this project is required? What kind of reading we supposed to go through while we are engaging with this project? What kind of reading? So yesterday we are discussing about multiple form of reading. Trying to understand what are the research report, evaluation report, process documentation. So different kind of reports are there. For example, this PISA report, that is a kind of achievement survey. So similarly, you can go through every time World Bank providing budget to every country. I mean, that is nothing new. And then at the end of the project, World Bank always comes to some kind of evaluation of that project, whether the project is done. Similarly, whatever we are doing, somebody, I mean, one of my colleagues is documenting it. So that is the document of a process itself. How? So there are different kind of reading. My question is, when you are writing this question, of course, we will discuss something. Yesterday we have discussed, but interact with others. That what are the different kind of reading? Is there are any documents available in public domain or maybe restricted public domain, for example, JSO, document or research paper is available, which answer your question, which can answer your question. Try to find out. Is there any document, any report, any reading, any literature is available which answer your question? So there are two aspects. One, framing of your question. I mean, the way you have framed the question, that is the important aspect. The second is now what I told you. There are multiple kind of range of reading material is available, and you need to find out which reading material. Suppose that I found the answer of probably her question, that how this multiple model approach helping the professional development. Suppose that I find the answer in a fiction. Is it acceptable for you? Right? Why your fiction answer available in fiction is not acceptable for you?
May not be applicable for my, it means for my practice. May not be applicable for me practice.
So what you do, try to find out limitation of scientific experiment. I mean, we are so obsessed with scientific experiment. I mean, we always believe it's something that comes through a certain methodology that is called scientific experiment, but we are not believing which are coming through the other method. That is a question you will discuss while you are discussing the next research. But that is the question. So today I am keeping my point only to the two dimensions. First dimension is frame your question and put your question on the wall. That's it. Put put your question on the board. The second is today night or tomorrow morning or today evening when you are roaming around or discussing with your friends, try to find out or discussing with your teachers or mentors, try to find out what kind of document. And there are not more than 5 or 6 documents. I just wanted to make it little like a film story. Ultimately, we know, oh, this is the story of the story. That is very so simple. But which document helps you to find out your answer of your question? So this today, I mean, the next episode of the story I will narrate tomorrow. Okay, but I must appreciate that you guys are very smart, very talented. You have asked so many questions, but you have not asked any question that pertaining to your work, what you are expected to do. That is important. So this is my question. What each of the members in this project are expected to do in next 7 months? So that is my question. I will also put there somewhere in the text. So this is the 2 things that I told you. Please, one last time, remember, put your question on the wall. This is not the first thing that you are going to post on the wall. So keep space for one side, because every day you are going to post something on the wall. So what is your question? Not necessarily in this session, at the end of the session, they themselves can put. So what is your question? And the second, what is the literature available? What are the reading material available which can answer to your question? So this is the way I wanted to conclude. I keep suspense continue so that tomorrow when we come and then I will try to conclude this story. So you will be a little bit motivated to understand what is the next part of this story. Okay, so this is the story about how to engage with the work. How to engage with the work. The story is that I am just cutting down my story in the midway because the next part, Ruchi is supposed to. So Ruchi, are you coming?
Yeah, I'm free.
Okay. So okay. So I will continue my story tomorrow.
So, Swani and Rima are collecting your post-its. Please put your name on the post-it wherever you have written those questions. We are going to put all those questions up there on that blackboard, or we can even put it on the window pane, Rima. We can just stick it on the window pane. Because वो softboard है, उसको भी करना. We'll figure it out. And what the objective is that at the end of the workshop, I hope that you have got answers to most of the questions which are there on that board. And if not the answer comes from us, at least you are able to find the answer yourself by discussing with others. That is what the objective is. Okay? So this is an interesting activity because now you have to start thinking about your own role, what is your understanding of the project, how you're going to take it up further, and how you are going to engage with the participants here to build on this further. And it is very nice that you are already thinking about multiple contexts and how something can be implemented in multiple contexts, as well as how you can learn from these multiple contexts by knowing about their work that has been done. So now let us move to the core of our project itself. So multimodal approach to teacher professional development. What do we mean by multimodal? Yeah. So So, one of the modes of interaction is talking. I'm doing this right now with you. Another mode of interaction is you writing down the question and putting it up. So writing is another way of, reading is another way of interaction. But multiple modes means we are adopting different modes of interaction, different modes of engagement for teachers to professionally develop. So mostly earlier, Ajay Singh has already discussed that we have different kinds of reading material, textbook, research paper, anthologies. So these are just one way of learning about something. There can be many other ways.
You can have a voice.
There can be many other ways of learning, and this may involve watching a video. We just watched that. This may involve, having a discussion in groups. This may involve, just responding to something on a course, online course that you have already done. So there can be different ways of learning, and we are going to engage these different ways of learning for supporting teachers' professional development. Now, some people might also be wondering what this teacher professional development is, because the word that is mostly used is teacher training. But why have we chosen to use this word teacher professional development? Why are we replacing that? Because training is something that can be given to many other people. Okay? To different kinds of, it can be very specific to a particular skill. But when you're talking about teachers, can training a specific skill work in the long term for them to, actually work in the classrooms? Just one specific, there are so many skills, there is so many knowledge, there are so many, practices that teachers have to all coordinate together when they are teaching. Teaching is a very complex phenomena, and teachers have to develop different kind of complex skills, knowledge, and coordinate all that in the classroom. It is not something that you read about it and you understand and then you can perform. The performance itself differs. Performance differs because you are interacting with live people. Based on the response that you're getting, you change your method. So that's why learning about teaching and these multiple modes will, it will help the teachers in understanding what teaching requires, and it will help them to professionally develop. So you already know, Ajay had also talked about it, that what do doctors do for their professional development? Medical profession, how do they improve their profession? What do? They engage in practice with their patients. They talk to each other. They have conferences. They share their learning with each other. So similarly, teachers are also working with live students. They can also professionally develop themselves by thinking and critically reflecting on their experiences in the classroom. They can think about, talk to other teachers. They can also engage in several other activities, including action research. Yeah. So now we are going to just think a little bit more about how do teachers learn. I talked about a few examples of how teachers learn. But if you can think of any other examples besides that, please feel free to share. Please try to articulate. How do teachers learn? By making mistakes. Very interesting. Yeah.
It may be philosophical.
Yeah.
Maybe philosophical, but there are, I think, 3 ways of learning. One is technical ways of learning. Another is practical ways of learning. And yet another is emancipatory.
So technical, practical, and emancipatory. Okay.
So the first one is what we actually learn from different already believed to be knowledge that we get from different sources. And the second one is what we actually have learned
or known or knowledge that is produced through collaboration interaction. And there is another way of knowing or learning, that is what we think out of the box. What is going on there? Yeah. Like total diversity.
Okay. So, and anybody else? How do teachers learn? So Hidaya, and then Janak Singh, and then Venkat.
I think teachers learn in many ways. One is observation and also through like mentoring and sharing the best practices among each other, trying to practice it in their own classroom. Now I also like the idea like Sama said, which you learn through your mistakes. You do it, the more you do, the better you become.
Yeah. Janak Singh and then Venkat.
In my opinion, teacher learns from the student as he is working with them. This is one thing. And another is teacher. There are two ways of learning: one from inside and another outside. Inside learning is when teacher is self-motivated. Okay, he reflects himself or his activities, and learning comes from there. Another is from outside. That is, for example, we are sitting here. This is kind of forum, and we learn from here. We learn from more than we learn from collaboration. Thank you.
So that is
I have a supplementary question.
my counter.
Now we have three answers. I have a supplementary question. How did you know this is the way of teacher learning? Have you read something, or it is your experience, or it is your imagination? My supplementary question. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you. So this question is to me.
Yes, you can
I
respond.
mean, all the
It is to all of them.
In my thank you so much, sir. I am interested to answer this question. This, this is my personal experience also. For example, my students were.
Janak, it is your personal experience or personal imagination?
This is my personal experience.
Experience.
Yes, and
So experience must be associated with some event.
yes, and just
So can you elaborate? We're not interested in character, but little bit in description of your event, which help you to answer this question.
yes, that's what I'm saying. My students were not interested in my teaching. For example, they were not interested in my class. They were not motivated. They were side talking. So I thought it is better idea to use some interesting materials in the classroom while I was teaching writing to my students. But the students were still not motivated in my class because the problem was not with the material that I was using in the classroom. So I asked my students, so why are you not interested? Direct question. Why are you not interested? What do you feel when I teach writing, or what do you feel when I ask them, ask you to write essays on certain topics or like that? Then when a student told me, we do not have the idea. We do not know how to express that in English. They know what to write in Nepali language, but they do not have the language to put that in English. So that was the problem. I learned from that experience that I should ask to my students whenever there are problems. So using extra material in my images is such that I thought that okay, if I use for example multimedia project in the classroom, it will motivate the students. But later the student had different problems. This is what I learned from my experience talking to the students. Thank you.
I don't have to answer. I just putting a question, but still I have a question. This is the experience of one teacher, and one teacher and his own experiment. Can we generalize it? That is my question. I mean, you can answer.
Can you generalize the experience of one teacher?
I think can I think we cannot generalize. We may not generalize, but we can get some insight from what he or she has experienced.
Okay.
Number one.
Just a request, if
Yeah.
you feel you're hidden behind people, just put your hand right up like this so we see you.
same answer actually. Cannot be generalized, but we can find out whether it's common, how common it is in the classes, especially in schools where their first language is not English. We can experiment and see how we can generalize.
So this is a problem of where of learning, whether the learning is same in all contexts or different. And it is very difficult to respond to this question because yes, learning is same across many contexts. We learn in similar manners, but yes, it is also different because of the context in which we are situated. So as human, we need to be able to, entangle this part, that in his experience, what is it that is similar to my context and maybe applicable in my context also, and what is different. So this is the same kind of thinking that you will have to do in your own action research also, because even when you engage later on in action research, you might be reading a few action research, you might feel that this is something which is similar, but there would be points that would be different in your own context. So you have to take that into your consideration. You have to be very mindful of mapping your situation, mapping your context. Who are the actors? What is the situation? What are the affordances? What are the things that are supporting the teacher's learning? What are the things that are constraining teacher's learning? So you have to make that map, and you have to try to put all the things that you feel are contributing to towards your action plan implementation, towards your action research. So you must have heard Professor Shahjahan in the morning. So there are multiple factors, and you do not know how those multiple factors are interacting with each other to bring about that particular piece of learning or the particular piece of intervention. So the similar kind of analysis you have to engage in when you go forward. Okay, but let us come back to the idea of teacher learning that we were discussing. So what Janak Singh said, that there are two ways to learn. One is through critical reflection. You reflect on your own experience and you learn from that. And yes, teachers learn from that, and that involves learning from mistakes. That involves thinking about your experience. And it is not just the classroom teaching experience, it is your own experience of being a learner also. You have been a learner throughout your life, throughout your school life. And in that, how you have experienced teaching has also shaped your imagination of what teaching should be. Maybe someone who has been very good in the school time may feel that this is the best way to teach and we should continue that. Maybe for some other person, it was not a good experience. And that really, constrained them in engaging or motivating. So we have this example about mathematics. Many people just hate mathematics because of the way it is taught, the way it is focused. So your school experiences, reflecting about those school experiences, also helps you understand how learning takes place and how teachers think about learning. So you need to, as teacher mentors, as teacher educators, you have to think at two different levels. You have to think at the level of the students also, the students who are there in the teacher's classroom. You have to think of teachers as learners also. What does a teacher needs to think to support their own students' learning? So please keep that in mind, and we will now think about the next question. What constitutes knowledge of practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can add some
Sure.
queries.
Yeah.
By observing on classroom activities, teachers can learn. By video, I think so.
Okay. So Chandrakala ma'am feels that teachers can learn by video. Yes.
I just wanted to add, I feel that in the field, the best way to learn is through interactive reflection, which is like we sit sitting here from the same profession, sitting here, either sharing our experiences and reflecting on it, or reflecting on our experiences, as you very well said, also reflecting on critical incidents which happens during our everyday practices. Like,
Yeah, I do want to bring out another point that she said, also Janet had said, that, you know, interactive reflection. She named, I mean, she gave a very nice term, interactive reflection. One is the reflection within oneself, and another is interactive reflection, reflecting with others. So that is a kind of a social learning. Yes, so that both the kinds of learning are very much important. Coming back to Chandrakala's ma'am point, she said teachers can learn by watching videos. I want you all to think about it a bit and respond. Whether you think that this is a good idea or not, what kind of support it provides, what kind of things it doesn't address. Please think about it and respond. Learning by videos, watching videos. Teachers can learn by watching videos. What kind of videos, ma'am?
Full video, ma'am.
Their own
Yeah.
classroom teaching videos.
Classroom teaching videos, the training videos, etc.
No, first you said their own videos.
Yeah.
And I understood that when they are teaching in the classroom, they have made a video and they are watching that again and they can learn from that.
By videos, we can improve our difficulties.
Okay, but how? That question is how? Just by watching, you are watching yourself teach. How is that helping you to learn?
Yeah, in a lot of materials, pedagogy, and then other.
No, I think I want everyone to just think about it.
Can I ask?
I think people want to respond back.
Video exactly.
Mariam, why don't you respond? Then we'll go back to Chandra.
I think if it is her own video, what she might observe in the video is like what has happened in the teaching. Like somebody, a student in the class did something and maybe she did not respond to a particular student, and then at that moment in time while she is teaching, she might not be able to see those things. But if she goes back to watch the video, she might have seen, okay, I didn't attend to this particular student and this is what happened later, and all that could be seen. So I think there is one way in which those type of videos could help.
Because videos provide you an opportunity to look back on your own practice. You know, by your memory can be faulty. You can even invent certain memories. So in the interaction, I may feel, you know, I am addressing everyone, I am looking at everyone. But later on, Dhwani may tell me, no, you missed someone who was raising your hand. But if I have a video, I can watch it and maybe I will be able to identify, oh, I missed this. This is the kind of support that video provides. This is how video provides. And there might be many things that we may miss because we are engaged in the performance at that moment. But when you watch it later, you are watching as an observer. So at that time, your mind is much more free to notice much more things. And there is, in fact, a very important theory by Mason, and they say that you know, if you start noticing very important points in your performance, your conceptual ideas improve. And you know, the more you understand about something, the more things you will start noticing in your performance, in your practice. So yes, watching videos can be a very important way of learning itself. I think Khilnarayan Shrestha wanted to respond.
Same thing I would like to say. I think it is part of critical self-reflection, and which provides opportunity to close observation of student, how student learning, and what difficulties they are facing, and what are missing in the role of teacher.
Feedback from the students may also help to knowledgeable practice.
Feedback from the students. So we need to think about these 4 questions. How do teachers learn? What constitutes knowledge of practice? I have knowledge of teaching practice. Like many, I think 15, 16 years back, I was a school teacher. I taught in school for 6.5 years. So in that engagement of teaching, how did I acquire this knowledge of practice? Can I say that I know how to teach? How can I say that? What is it that qualifies me to say that I know how to teach? We all need to write it down for ourselves. What does it mean to have knowledge of practice? How is this knowledge acquired? What are the different modes through which this knowledge is acquired? And lastly, how is this knowledge of practice put to use? Is it that I told you today that you should practice learning from mistakes? You understood that it is a very good idea. And then I expect that you will go in the classroom and you will be able to do it very perfectly the very first day. No, it will not happen. It will require multiple times of trials for you to be able to effectively do this. Learning from mistakes, helping students to learn from their mistakes, helping yourself to learn from your own mistakes. It will take several amounts of trial. So how is the knowledge of practice put to use? So think about these 4 questions. So this is your homework for today. We will again have this session tomorrow, and we will move further about what are the aspects that we need to focus when we are talking about teacher learning. When you are going to engage in action research, you are all going to focus on teacher learning of one or other aspect. It would be based on themes, but even within those themes, suppose one is focusing on mathematics education. So what of mathematics education? Knowledge of mathematics, okay, but what knowledge of mathematics? You cannot address you might be interacting for 2 months with a teacher. You cannot address the whole of mathematics knowledge in that 2 months. Okay, one topic of mathematics, maybe algebra. Okay, is it possible to address all of algebra knowledge in that 1 or 2 months? Maybe not. From experience, I'm saying maybe not. Maybe just one concept of algebra. That what does this, that x can stand as a variable. Maybe just that concept. How the teacher understands it and how the teacher tries to convey, discuss this idea with the students. Maybe just this much. So along with this knowledge, there could be many other things. It could be teacher belief about what mathematics is, or what science is, or what peace education is. I remember some fellow saying that people think that peace education is required only in countries where there is a lot of violence taking place. But peace education is required to just maintain the peace itself. So the concept of peace itself, that belief about what is peace, that concept itself, that will take time. The practice, the way the teacher conducts her lesson, it could be focused on that. So we will discuss these points further tomorrow. For today, you just focus on these 4 questions, write it down for yourself, and take a photo and post it on Telegram by tomorrow morning. I give you time till tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. You can post it. Okay. So now we'll ask. Honey, do you want to first go to the schedule itself, or go directly to the?
Does everyone have a copy of the schedule? The program schedule? Could you please open it and keep it in front of you? I will just take you through in 5 minutes very quickly to the schedule. And if there are any changes, I hope I'm audible right at the back. Yeah. All right. So day 1, I think the first half is almost done. We will be getting together for a group picture right now. It's not a major thing, but we do want it to happen today. After lunch, we have two sessions. Actually, the third session is sort of an informal session. So the two sessions are action research and well-being. After the tea break, we have getting to know each other, and we've added a session at 6 p.m. It's toy making. Mr. Ravi Sinha from the Homi Baba Center for Science Education will be joining us to take you all through toy making from 6 to 7 p.m. On day 2, that's tomorrow, we start with reflection session. The idea is to just capture the previous day's learning and just understand and raise some questions, get some comments from all of you. The next session is again a session by Ruchi and Ajay sir. Then we break for tea. We meet again for mentoring. This is the second session. You all attended the first session virtually. Then we break for lunch. There's a session on inclusive pedagogy by Ms. Radhika. We have added a beverage break for 5 minutes because we realize it gets a little sleepy at 3 o'clock. So that will happen at 3:15. And then action research, again a tea break. And we will take you through exploration of Click's resources page. And Sadakat Mullah will join for that. Tomorrow in the evening, we had written outing, but there is no outing. We would like you all to spend some time, maybe just working on the course. I know some of you are struggling with internet. We will figure that out for the Maldives team. The Nepal team can use the ERC, which is inside the office for today. If you need to spend from 7 to 8:30, just around dinner time, you can do your work over there in the ERC. The third day is the reflection session again. We start with that. Then we move to mentoring, a tea break, an action research. There are two sessions for action research before lunch and after lunch. Then a session by Ruchi on developing school synergy. From 5 to 6, there will be different experts on the themes that I mentioned here who will take you through very pointed questions around your action research proposal. I have started sending emails. In fact, I think the Maldives team is covered. I was waiting for a few. I've started sending emails connecting your academic and your field mentors. I will post the list of who is your academic mentor in the thematic group. There are 6 thematic groups in whatever theme you've chosen. We will make sure that you're all there by today on Telegram. Then there is another Clicks resource and ERC exploration session. That's on 30th June. There are some very exciting things to explore in the ERC, like there's a telescope and other things. Rafiq and Gina and Vinay will take you through this and other things. On 1st July, the Nepal team, we will be involving you all in some other activity. We will get back to you about that. We will be initiating a focus group discussion with the Maldives team. A similar activity that was happening when you all just entered the room today. Then there's an institutional visit from 10:30 to about 1 o'clock in a very close to this. Then there are 2 sessions of action research again, another break, and there's a break in between the sessions, so you can add that break if you want to add. The 5 o'clock after the tea break is a mistake. Please change the title to case study on WebQuest. That's not action research 6. And if it does not rain at 6 o'clock that day, we will try to have a walk around the disc campus by Rafiq. Moving on to 2nd July, again we start with reflection, we go to mentoring, the tea break, the 7th session of the action research. Then the research team members will talk about the landscape mapping study report. We hope you have a lot of questions. We'll try to share the summary with you before that. There's a session on analyzing classroom video. It was good to know that there was a lot of discussion about that today. There's a break between these 2 sessions, and then from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we have told the academic mentors that the ones who are available here, we've tried to ensure that the field mentor, the academic mentor, and the fellow meet each other. So you have to make sure that you know the name of the academic mentor and whether they are there in campus. We will tell you who is in campus. If they are not in campus, we will try and schedule a call. It will happen at least twice this week. The days might change. Yeah, so that's 5 to 6. It perhaps could even go to 7 because we want you to spend time with your academic mentor and field mentor together. They already have your essays. On 3rd, we are planning a Bombay, like a South Bombay excursion. We will discuss with you all in case you all would like to go rather skip. You have to let us know in advance if some of you would not like to go for it. And there will be lunch. It will end by mid-afternoon. The rest of the evening is free. We have to make arrangements at various levels. So we need to know whether you would like to, for example, the dinner advisory is sent or so we need to know in advance whether you would like to do certain activities. And we will keep one point of contact. So for Nepal will be Manisha. I'm hoping for Villa College it could be Dr. Mariam or Dr. Aisha. Yeah, one to two. On 4th, we start with reflection again. And from 10 o'clock to 1 p.m., we are going to have presentations by the fellows on the first course. We will talk to you about that. We will ask your team. We will ask the course teams to tell you there's a certain format for the presentation, how much time will you get to the presentation. And we are hoping some fellows from Afghanistan can also join so that they get to hear what you share and you get to hear what, because we had a wonderful time interacting with them last week. Then we break for lunch and there are 2 sessions. The CL for STEM project that you have heard about, the global grant. 2 researchers from there will come and talk about what we've done under each of special development, especially for STEM, but with 2 African countries and Bhutan. And then there's a session on analyzing evidences of learning by Dima and Gina. Again, we've kept the evening from 5 to 7 approximately, so that you spend time with your academic mentor and field mentor if they are present here. Second last day, morning is a field visit. Gateway School is an inclusive school for specially and differently abled children. It's again very close to this. We partnered with them. Radhika was taking a session on inclusive pedagogy involved with them. There'll be some debriefing. We will try to understand if you have questions or comments on inclusive education. We don't need that. From 3:15 to 6 o'clock, it's going to be a long presentation of your action research plans, not the proposal, your action research plans. As and when you go to the action research course, you will understand how to get closer to your action research plan. In this presentation,
This is the presentation of proposal and plan. So this is the draft proposal and plan. So that whatever feedback you can get there, you can incorporate in those.
and then there is again some free time. When we say free time, we would definitely like her to go out and explore the city. But we do hope you all take this time to try and finish the course on physics. And we hope internet is not an issue. And we're trying to solve that out with the reach. So please try and finish the course. So when you go back, there isn't a burden on you to finish the course. Both the mentoring as well as the action research course. When I say finish, not finish the course, but try and do your weekly tasks. And I think your course team will be able to talk to you better on what you're expected to finish each week. Yeah. The last day, first hour is
If it's raining, how can we get a sit outside?
from 10 to 1 again, we have presentation of the proposal. After lunch, I
What is
think
the
it's going to be
best
about
facility?
planning ahead, determining what your plans are, determining what the next
Two
couple of
things
months
they
are
are
going to
supposed to
look
do
like.
after the session.
The closing
One is a
ceremony
feedback
and then an
And
informal
second
dinner.
is
And
they
we're
have
hoping some of the
completed
mentors will
processing
join us.
tickets. Okay, because that's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, the timing is
So,
6 to 7, but
yesterday
dinner will
someone
not get
hired
over.
us, so we were not able to.
6:30 onwards will lead to about
All of them
8:30
or
or
the-
so.
some of them?
Some
We
of
would be sharing some
Then that
instructions
must
on
be
the
the
last day about when you're
There
expected
must
to
be
leave
something.
the airport. It's a
There
large
must be
group,
there.
so we
I
would
don't know
want
if
you to
there's
stick
all
to
the
this
slow
and make
or
sure you're packed up the night before. It's going to be an early morning and a long day for most of you.
It's just that
And
the
yeah,
router must be at some place, and if the room is
Your flight time and it will
distance,
See, if we are providing that facility, that should not be there now. It should be accessible from everywhere.
start
And we
very
cannot
everywhere
early.
meaning what? Inside the room of every room, how can that be possible?
Then why are we saying that we are providing internet facility?
In the campus?
just be prepared for that.
Because that's part of the campus.
Don't want
Yeah, then it is available in the guest house. But
So, yeah,
if
I
you
think
go
that's
inside the
best. If
room,
you have
lock
any
the
questions,
doors and everything,
I'm
the
there
router
around
is
lunch.
having some limitations.
See all let's go
If
for
there is
lunch.
a wall in between, you can provide the range across. You can check what is the like, connection there. Just get checked. Like, how many routers are there? Is it like one per floor?
Very important.
Or that we can confirm and then guide it.
Whenever you go out, please keep
It's
your
not like
ID
if
and
I go
passport.
into my room and then close everything and then I'm saying that it's not available.
Passport and this ID. Whenever you go out, please take passport and this ID with you. Sometimes when you get inside that is, they would ask you to show the ID. Okay. And the other important thing was the guest house manager had said if somebody wants their room clean, they have to give the key to them. If you don't want it clean, then it's fine. You can keep it clean. Well, if you want it clean, you have to give it.
Yeah, and Ruchi, I just want to also inform about the internet connectivity. So all the Nepal fellows, please do help others to get the like IP address listed. So
You have to help at least,
yeah,
all Nepal fellows have to help at least one
One.
Maldives fellow
yes,
for the ID.
yeah. Just like we need to list those IPs.
And
The
get it
similar
done.
exercise that we did yesterday. Once you come back. Yeah. Thank you.
That's what we were talking.
Routers कितने मतलब हर floor पे हैं based on that because they will not be like now installing
You
new
can leave your bags here, your laptops here, where you're planning to keep the room locked. Unless you want to go back.
Dhwani. After lunch, attendance sheet is getting circulated. Then dinner time बोलो 7:30 to 9 है. कल जैसे 10:30 बजे तक नहीं चलेगा. And
हमने
SIM
बोला ना
cards,
कि 7
yes.
बजे चाय के टाइम पे ये जल्दी दे दो उसने बोला हाँ हाँ चलेगा
लेट मत करो ना.
पर 7 बजे से बोला ना 7:30 नहीं किया
7:30 बोला है to 9 strictly बोला है. SIM cards, Rohan has called that schedule. I mean that
तो जब कुछ होगा तब बोलेंगे.
no. So it's like if they are taking in their name, it will get 4 days to get activated. If we are taking, we can take 7 SIMs per person, but 2 will get activated one day. क्या करना है? But if we are taking in our name, they should return it and go.
या है ना सतीश
क्या?
सिम कार्ड बिजनेस थोड़ा रिस्की है किसी को दे दिया कोई वैसा वैसा कॉल हमारे को बात
SIM
करके
card.
if we take SIM cards in our name for other
No,
people
that is like, in fact they should have taken one taking
वो टेकन के चक्कर में 12 बजे पहुंचे बहुत टाइम लगाया
तो लिए कि नहीं
ये पर 5 लोग बाकी है नेपाल में किसी के पास भी तो
So what
days को लगेगा.
that is what that person saying. What can I say? मतलब आज मतलब क्यों लगेगा मतलब it takes.
क्या करूं
नहीं मगर I'm just thinking उनका इंटर मतलब नेटवर्क ही नहीं है. If they also go anywhere else.
See, she said one device, right? तो इसमें तो मोबाइल तो होगा ही नहीं. ओपन वाईफाई है नहीं अपने पास.
हाँ तो मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मगर ये कैंपस के बाहर भी जाएंगे. We should have some-
चलो.
But we need to get it sorted. What we need to do? SIM card.
ये मिलान 3 दिन के लिए गया SIM card. कॉन्फ्रेंस में बोला था मुझे कि मतलब सब है फिर भी मैंने क्यों आई नो फिर एयरपोर्ट से जाके मैं होटल जाना कभी भी मुझे लगेगा.
How
I could
Conference can
proceed
provide
the
you that
conversation, like
facility.
take it
Campus
to
के बाहर
lunch.
में
Sorry,
They are
for the
not
photo,
familiar with
because
that
otherwise the
because
photographer will run away.
which I
Let's go, please.
yeah.
Yeah. IT guys are coming. You know, it is at the lunch.
This is